Hi everyone, this is HM&S video number 28 and you are most welcome for it. We have been seeing different techniques of typing in Microsoft Word. Today we want to see how we can work with tables in Microsoft Word. We shall see actually a lot about tables in Microsoft Word, the different ways how we can insert tables, how we can modify it, and even how we can delete it. Let's switch on to it and we see the different ways of working with tables in Microsoft Word. Now I've opened a blank Word document and I've saved it as HM&S 28 tables in Word. Now if you want to insert a table in Microsoft Word, you simply need to go to the Insert tab, and then you click on it, and then from the tables groups, there's only one command called table, and it's having a drop down arrow. When you click on that command, it drops down into these options here. Now we are seeing these blocks here. These are the blocks that you can use to insert your table. And on top here we are seeing insert table. When you hover over to these blocks, as you can see, it will give you also the preview from the document area. As you can see from there, the preview is there. And also on top here where it's saying insert table, it will change now to the dimension of the table you want to insert. Like for example, if I click on only one block, like this first one, it's telling me a 1 by 1 table. That means there's one column and one row in that table. When I hover over two columns like this, it's telling me a 2 by 1 table. That means there are two columns and one row. If you hover over to many, you can see like this one is a 7 by 5 table. Now I want to insert a 7 by 6 table. That means I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are 7 columns. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are 6 rows. Now when you simply hover over to it like this, you simply need to click in order for you to insert the table. Now the moment you insert the table in Microsoft Word, you automatically get these two contextual tabs. The table design and then the table layout tabs. Those tabs you can only get it when you're working within the table. Like if I'm to click outside the table like this, you can see it even disappear. So you need to click back onto the table for you to get the table design tab and then the table layout tab. Let's get to know more about what we are seeing right here. We are seeing columns and rows. Just like in Excel, in Word, columns are also named by letters like column A, B, C, D. And then also for rows, there's always row 1, 2, 3, like that. In our next video, we are going to talk about working with formulas in Microsoft Word, and we are going to prove that there's actually an invisible column headers and row headers there in a Word document also. If for example we want more rows than 6 rows that we have inserted, we can actually add more rows into this table. If you want to insert a row below this row, you simply need to come down to the bottom of your table, then you drag over to the left. When you reach the edge, you will see this line and a plus at the end. You simply need to click on that plus using your mouse and it will add for you one row below. If you want to insert a row between this row and this row, you simply need to come to the horizontal line that is separating those two rows. Then you drag over to the left up to the edge of the table. It will also give you the plus and then the blue lines. You simply need to click using your mouse. The same applies also to columns. If you want to add a column between this column and this column, you simply need to go to the vertical line that is separating those two columns, drag up, and then also you see the blue lines and a plus, you click. If you want to be more precise and you want to know exactly where you are going to add your columns and your rows, then you need to use another method apart from that one. If you want to add a column, let's say a column between this column and this column, go to any cell within that column and then you right click, come down to insert. Now you have all these options here. You can insert a column to the left or you can insert columns to the right. You simply need to click on the option you want and it will insert for you the column. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. Select maybe the second row, right click, come to insert rows. Let's say below the area where I selected, you simply need to click insert and it will insert for you the row. The same applies to cell also. You can right click, come to insert. You can see also the option for inserting cell is here. Now let's see how we can adjust the column widths and the rows of our table. We come to the vertical line which is actually separating those two columns. When I see this type of cursor, I click and drag it to the right. As you can see, it has actually adjusted for us the column weights of that column. The same applies to row also. You simply click and drag it down like this, and you can see it has actually increased for us the size of that row. I'm going to control Z to undo that. Let's see other ways of inserting tables into Microsoft Word. Currently my cursor is in this cell. If I'm to hit enter right now, you can see it just creates for me a line in that cell. I'm going to control Z. If you need to move outside of the table, you can come down and then you click below the table. You can see our cursor is now outside. I'm going to click enter to create another line. By the way, you can as well click the show paragraph marks so that you can see everything you are doing there. But I want to remove the show paragraph marks for this video here. So our cursor is here. Again, when you go back to the insert tab, table group, the first option we saw here was actually limited to a 7x6 table, as you can see. For your case, you might have different options for this one here. But if you want to have full control of the number of rows and columns you insert in your Word document, then you come to this insert table. When you click on this insert table, you get the insert table dialog box. You can give it the number of columns you want and then also the number of rows you want. Now, like for my case, I want a 4x8 table. So I simply need to come down and click insert. And you can see it has inserted for me a 4x8 table. I'm going to show you the third way how you can insert a table in Microsoft Word. I'm going to come down, again click enter to create some line there. Again, I'm going back to the insert tab. From the table groups, I'm going to click on table. This time around, we're going to come to draw table. Now, once you select draw table, you get this pencil that you can use to draw your table. I'm going to draw a 3x3 table. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start by drawing the outside border. I'm going to click and drag. As you can see from the preview, the moment you release your mouse, you can see it has drawn for us just the outside borders of the table. I'm going to draw 2 vertical lines inside this block. I'm again going to draw 2 horizontal lines to make a 3x3 table. So I'm going to draw this and then draw this. Now I'm done drawing my table, but I'm still seeing this pencil. There are 2 ways you can actually remove that pencil. You can come back and then you click on draw table again to unselect it, or you can simply use the keyboard shortcut escape. Now let's come back to this first table here. Let's call this one table 1. This one is going to be our table 1, table 2, and then table 3. Now when you come to this table 1, there are these 2 tabs here. Let's start from the table design tab. The moment you select the table design tab, you have 3 groups. There's table style options group, there's table styles group, and then the border groups. Let's start with the table styles group. When you come to the table style groups, then you click on this drop down. You can see you have a bunch of options here. Actually, these styles are grouped into 3 different categories. There's plain table groups, there's also grid table groups, and then the list table groups down here. You can select any you want. Let's select one from the grid table groups here. I'm going to select, let's say, this one. So when you hover over to any, you will as well see the preview from here, and then also you will see the name. Like for example, this one is called Grid Table 5 Dark. When you click on it, it inserts for you this kind of styles here, as you can see. Sometimes it's exactly what you want, but sometimes it's actually not what you want. You can as well modify it. Like for our case here, we are seeing the black shadings on top on the first row of the table and also on the first column of the table. If for example you want to change the color of that shading, when you highlight that first row like this, now it's actually difficult for you to know that it's actually highlighted because it's black. But when you highlight it the way we have highlighted it, then you come to the shading commands. You have all these colors that you can select from. Now you can come to any color you want. You can as well come to more colors here, then you get some other colors, or you can even come to custom colors. Then you use these unlimited colors to get to the color you want. So when you highlight it, then you come to shading, you come to these colors. Let's say for example we want to give the header, that top row, a green color, so you come to green. When you come to green, you will even see the preview from there. When you click on it, you can see it is now having a green shading instead of the black shading. Now, when you see the alternate rows or alternate columns are shaded using different colors, in Microsoft Word, that's called banding rows or banding columns. Now, with that said, let's come to the table style options group here. Let's start with banded rows and banded columns. Now, for our case here, in this table, we are seeing banded rows selected because we can see we have alternate rows shaded using different colors. If you unselect banded rows, you can see we're having all our rows shaded using one color. But once you select banded rows, you can see the rows are shaded using different colors. The same applies to columns. Let's first unselect banded rows and then we select banded columns. Now, when you select banded columns, you can also see alternate columns being shaded using different colors. Now, when you select banded rows and banded columns, this is what you can get. But for our case, let's unselect banded columns. Then we have the banded rows selected. Now, the header row is actually this top row here. Let's first get back to the styles. And then I'm going to select our style again. If you come to the table style options group here, there's actually header row. That is actually the first row. By default, using this style is always selected. But if you unselect it, you can see your table doesn't have any header row. That's why it doesn't have that black shading on the top row. But if you select it again, the black shading is back, showing that this is actually your header row. Again, the first column also is this column. If you want to consider it as the first column, you need to check it. And then you can have these shadings here to differentiate it from the rest of the column. The same applies to last column, as you can see. But also the total row, when you select it, it is actually this down row here. That's actually the row that people most of the time always put their totals. Now let's unselect this and we have our table like this. Now when you come to the borders group here, there are actually a lot you can do with the table borders. Now let's come back to our table 2 and then you click within your table 2. Still under the table design, when you come to the border group, you can apply different borders to your table. Now when you're using this border group, you go from left to right and then from top to down. By that I mean when you're selecting your option, you start selecting from left, then you keep on moving to right, as you also consider moving from up to down. Now if I select this table here and I want to apply a border to this table, let's start by selecting only one cell. Like for example, we have selected only this cell. Now when you're applying a border, the first thing you need to do is to come to the left, you have the border style. When you click on the border style, it gives you all these options here. Now for our case, let's select this double border here. It's called the double solid line half point. As you can see the name, when you click on it, it will automatically do two things. One, you can see the border painter. That paintbrush you can see is already applied, meaning you can actually paint a border of whatever area you have selected. And two, the border painter command here is actually selected, as you can see. Even just by selecting this, you can actually start drawing your border. You can simply click and draw, click and draw. As you can see, we have already drawn some border here, but I'm going to Control Z to undo those two, because we need to select more options. We have already selected the border style, as we can see. Now you need to go to the left to this column, then you need to start from up. This one here is the line style. When you click on the options for the line style, you have all these styles here. Now we have selected the double line, and we have all these styles you can select from. For our case, let's select this. When you come down a little bit, you have the line weight. By default, when you select that style, you can see it's having 3 points. But when you click on it, you can actually change it to any point you want. Like for our case, I'm going to select 2¼ point. When you click, after selecting the border style, line style, and then the line weight, you need to come down to the pen color. You click. For our demonstration, let's select red. So I'm going to click red. Now, the moment I select red, you can see everything has turned to red from here. That means anything I'm going to draw, any border I'm going to draw, is going to be red in color. Now, when you are done, you move to the right. We have the borders here. Now, if you am to draw anything here, like for example, if I'm to draw this, you can see it's coming in a red color. as you can see. But this one I'm drawing it manually. You can simply draw anywhere you want, like this, and you have your borders. I'm going to control Z, 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 Z to undo that. When you come now to borders, you select the type of border you want. This time around, it's no longer drawing. You simply need to apply it. I want you to check from this cell that I've selected what's going to happen. When I select bottom border, you can see it puts for me the border at the bottom of that cell. Top border, left border, right border, all border. As you can see. Now for our case, I'm going to first come back here. I want to select the entire table because I want the border to be applied on the entire table. So I'm going to highlight the entire table. You click and drag to highlight the entire table. This is how you can highlight the entire table, or you simply need to click on your table. Then you come to this little thing you are seeing on top here. When you click on it once, you can see it highlight for you the entire table. So I'm going to go back to the border because I've already selected all these options now. Then I'm going to apply all border. Now when you apply all border, it applies it to everything, as you can see. But now let's go to outside border. We want to apply it only on the outside of our table. Simply need to click OK to apply it. As you can see, we have already applied that one now. So that's how you apply borders to your table. Let's now click Table Layout tab. Let's start from the table group here. I'm going to click on this first cell, then I come to select. When you come to select cell, it selects for you only that entire cell, as you can see. Come back. When you come to select column, you click, you can see it selects for you the entire column. Or when you click on this cell, you can also come to select row, or you can come and select the entire table. That one is actually another way of selecting on top of the two ways I've shown you before. This one and then this one. Now when you come to the grid line, let me scroll up a bit. We have this table 1 where we have applied some styles. When you come to grid lines and then you click on grid line, you can see it has put for us some grid line. You can actually see that from first row. Yeah, when I unselect grid line, you can see there is no grid line. When I select back grid lines, you can see it has put for us some grid lines there. I'm going to unselect it. Now again, if you want to draw your table, you can as well go to the draw group here, click on the draw table, you get the same pen, then you simply draw your table the same way we have drawn it before. You can as well come to erase table, and then you get this rubber or the eraser. You simply click through to erase it, and it will also be erased just like this, as you can see. Click on any table, go back to the table layout. This is table 2 that I've clicked. Now you can as well delete your table using this delete. Let me first draw one more table down here. I'm going to click, come to the insert table. I'm simply going to insert a 6x3 like this. When you come to the table layout tab, you can simply come to the delete. When you click on delete, you can delete a cell, delete a column, delete a row, or when you click on delete table, you can see the table is gone. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. You can also select your entire table, then you right click, then you come to delete table. That one is also another way of deleting your table. So I'm going to click back on table 2, come to the table layout tab again. We can as well also insert row and column. If you come to the rows and columns group here, you can simply select one cell like this in your table, then you insert row above, insert row below, insert column left, insert column right. Let's just demonstrate one. I'm selecting this cell, click on insert row above. As you can see, that's inserted for us one row. Click on this cell, insert column to the left. You can see that's also inserted for us some column to the left. Now when you come to the merge group here, you can as well do some splitting of your cells and table using this merge group. Now let me first try to adjust and make this column wide like this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this cell, and then I'm going to click on split cell. As you can see, it is giving me this split cells dialog box. You can actually specify the number of columns you want and the number of rows you want within that cell actually. It works only within that cell. So I'm going to go by default 2 columns and then 1 row. When I click on it, you can see it has split for us that very cell into 2 columns and then 1 row. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. What happens if I highlight the entire column like this, then I go to split cell? You can see that we get the same dialog box, but it's giving me number of columns is going to be 2, then number of rows is going to be 9, because there are actually 9 rows here. That's why by default it has selected for me 9. But this time around, let's go to 3. Let's say we want to split this into 3 different columns. When you click, you can see it has splitted for us this into 3 columns and then 9 rows. Now the same way you can as well merge 2 or more cells together. When you have selected only one cell and then you come to the merge group, you can see the option for merge cells is actually grayed out. That means it's not active. But the moment you select like 2 columns or more, you can see the option for merge cells is now active. When you come to it, then you click on merge cells, you can see the 2 cells have now been merged into one. Now you can as well change the height of the row and column in your table. When you click on, like for example, this cell, then you come to the cell size group. You can as well adjust the table row height or the table column widths. If you come to the top option here for the table row height, you can click on the number here, then you increase it, it's in inches, or you can use the 2 arrows, the up and down pointing arrow. When you increase the size, watch what happened to our table row height. You click, you can see the height is increasing. That's because you have selected row 1. When you select this row, like for example this row, then you increase, you can see the height of the row is actually increasing. When you also decrease, the height of the row decreases also, just like the way you are seeing it. The same applies to the table column widths. You can click on any cell in one column, then you can as well increase the table column widths. You can as well decrease it, it's in inches. When you highlight 2 rows like this, then you increase it. You can see it's increasing 2 rows at a go. You can as well decrease it because you have highlighted 2 rows. Now let's see how we can type in a table. I'm simply going to type on this first cell. I'm going to type name. Either use tab to go to the cell on your right or shift tab to go to the cell on your left, or you can use the arrow key. The right arrow will take you to the cell on the right, as you can see. The left arrow will take you to the cell on the left, down arrow will take you to the cell down, up arrow will take you to the cell up. So on the first cell, I'm going to type name, tab, region, let me use right arrow here. Then on this cell, I'm going to type amount. Then I'm going to use tab, W for Western, tab, I'm going to type 10,000. So I've typed something in our table here, but as you can see, they've aligned it on the top left hand corner. That's not what I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first demonstrate for you the 9 different alignment options that you have in Microsoft Word. Like for example, when I select this first cell, it is only this cell here, we have 9 different positions where we can actually put anything we have typed in that cell. Those are the 9 different positions you are seeing here. Let's name it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this one is the top left hand corner, as you can see. When I click on this, this is the top middle. Click, this is the top right hand corner. Click, this is the middle right hand side. This is actually the middle, the center, and this one is the bottom right. Now for me, I want to put this at the center or in the middle, so I'm going to click on this middle. So all these 9 positions you are seeing here is actually representing a single cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the 9 positions. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the entire table. I'm simply going to click on this to select it. Then I'm going to put everything at the middle or at the center. Now as you can see, everything is aligned at the center of our table, but the way the text and the numbers are actually written is actually in a horizontal format. Now let's first come here, then we give it a full name, Northern, Western. What if you want to change the direction of the text you have written in your table? It's actually very simple. Let's start by demonstrating it on one cell. Our first cell again, when you come to the alignment group which is under the table layout tab, there is actually the text direction. You can keep on clicking it to have your text written into 3 different directions. By default, it's always horizontally written like the way we are seeing here. But when you click on text direction one more time, you can see it's actually written vertically from top to bottom. When you click on text direction one more time, it's actually written vertically from down to top. Again, when you come to text direction, then you click it again, it comes back to the horizontal from left to right. There's actually no horizontal from right to left because literally in English, it doesn't actually read from right to left. If I'm to highlight this entire table, then I click. You can see it's changing the entire table because I've highlighted it bottom to top and then back to horizontal, left to right. Yeah, that is it about tables in Microsoft Word. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you found this video interesting, give it a like and then you share it with your friends. This is the playlist that's having all the videos we have uploaded about typing in Microsoft Word. You can click on it, then you go and watch all those videos. Until next video, HM&S video number 29, then we meet again. Thank you.